because we hear on Friday that he's going, and then we get information while we're on air from someone very close to the owner of the club. Yes, he will be going. There have been issues. Now, we knew there were issues, Simon. Was it almost inevitable? I mean, Sheffield United seemed to drag their feet over the weekend, but they came to the decision he was going, and off he went.
Well, it's an inelegant way for it to all to have come to an end. It's an inelegant way for Chris Wilder to have conducted himself in the press. He has, to some extent, he has a right to have a very robust view about the future of Sheffield United, what he wants for the following season and what he wants to achieve. And he has a right to take his owner to task and bring him into the picture of what he wants. He doesn't have the right to use the media to do it. And irrespective of whether people think that because he's done this wonderful thing of getting them out, he hasn't done it on his own. He's done it in conjunction with people that own the football club, whether it's Prince Abdullah, whether it was Kevin McCabe. He was given an opportunity where his CV didn't dictate the opportunity was ready for him to be given, but he took it. He was given the support. He did a very good job. When I heard him going off the other day, and it's not because I hired and fired managers and believe they should know where their place in the food chain is. I think there's a way to operate and there's a way not to. And you have every right to have very robust conversations because you're the leader of the football team. Have a robust conversation with your chairman. Tell him what you think. Really put him in the picture. And if you don't like it, walk out the door. But he decided to be very confrontational, very competitive and slightly disrespectful. We had his owner on 2 or 3 weeks earlier talking about how wonderful Chris Wilder was and how he wasn't going to be a casualty of what is a really, really poor season. They've been really poor, and it's been Chris Wilder and his players have been responsible for that. He has been supported. Maybe he hasn't been supported as much as he would like to have been supported, but he's been supported on players. He's bought £25 million players. He's bought £20 million players. He's signed players like Rhian Brewster that have been really poor, and he has to own that. The goalkeeper hasn't set the world on fire. They haven't been great because his management and his players have been poor. And you can always flick the blame onto what someone else should have done, but there has to be a point when you own that yourselves. So when I heard him talking the other day, as you know, I thought, not on, not right, this is going to end one way. You'd like to have felt that it would have been slightly more elegant. And when you hear Paul Heckingbottom coming on saying that the players are not going to give any excuses, but immediately gives an excuse, which is that it's been difficult for them. It's been difficult because you've been crap. You're bottom of the league. You've put this upon yourselves. The players and the manager are responsible, and it's not good enough. And unfortunately, what is going to play out is Chris Wilder is a gilded hero that stood up to his owner and ultimately should be employed by the next. If I'm an owner looking at that, I'd go, there's a way to handle things in adversity and there's a way to handle things in success. And they should be the same. They should be the same. They should be, we treat both of these imposters, like Rudyard Kipling once said, with equal measure and dignity and respect, not when it's all going your bloody way. And that's the problem at times with football.
I think you're right, Simon. There's whether you're a player having a relationship with a manager or a chief exec, or a manager with the chief exec or the owner, whatever it may be, no problem at all sitting down and having some real honesty in a room.
Absolutely right.
That's the way it's always been, and it's the way I've learned, the way it should be. I haven't seen all the interviews you're talking about where he's come out and started. I think he's probably. It looks like.
He's frustrated, Dan. He's entitled to be.
But it looks like, Simon, that he's frustrated with the talk about maybe a technical director coming in.
That came after. That came after.
Did it come after?
Yeah.
Well, even if it was, he shouldn't be frustrated at that because actually what they've done in the recruitment's been poor, and actually football evolves, clubs evolve, and sometimes you have to be on board with that.
Absolutely.
If you're not on board with it, you get in a room, you say you're not on board with it, and you do things the right way, and you walk out the door.
I think he was upset at the inactivity in the last window, Danny,
but also,
and decided to
why
vent
would you
that
give him
at
more
the
money?
press
Why would you give
conference.
him more money when they're rock bottom of the league?
But I don't think that's what he was
a...
saying. What he was saying was that I want a blueprint now. Those that are in charge of the long, short and intermediate term are not communicating with me. It's beyond my pay grade. I'm not part of those decisions, which is nonsense. Can you imagine how managers have got to manage up? Can you imagine if one of his players went out in the media and questioned his decisions and questioned the way he did? So it's like a double standard. They want absolute unequivocal loyalty and respect from their players, but they don't want to give it to the guy they work for. It doesn't make any sense to me, because ultimately the whole football industry is about being united in one. If you're all in one direction, you may not always agree, but it's about how you overcome the things that you disagree with. And I think Chris Wilder has really done himself a disservice, really, in the longer game.
It's a shame, Simon, because he's done a terrific job.
He has
indeed.
indeed.
Point out, and he's quite a likeable guy. I think the players like him, from what I hear. I think there's a bitter taste with this one, isn't there? The way it's ended on both parties, maybe, and it takes away actually from the job that's been done. Now, if they decided to move away amicably from each other and go down a different road, it could have been done in a much better way than
Yes, yeah. They tried to make it look as if it was like that, Danny, but I think it was far from it. So Danny's used the words bitter taste. Are there Sheffield United fans this morning who have a bitter taste in their mouths at the way the Chris Wilder situation has been handled? And why was a Wilder fairy tale allowed to collapse, seemingly, so easily?